Here it comes, America, the not-so-great reopening. I'm back. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like. Hey, spread this video faster than coronavirus. People need to hear what I have to say. Remember, my motto from radio, this is not talk radio, this is thought radio. Hey, give us a thumbs up and a like. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. And you gotta smack the bell for notification, but you've also gotta click the word all. All right, let's get into this. So the president, wanting to announce his rollout again, I get it. He is absolutely surrounded by the swamp. His instincts told him that this whole thing was being blown out of proportion. He said so. He got crucified for it. His instincts told him, hey, we can reopen this country by Easter. And then he got talked into another 30-day lockdown because Easter was going to be the deadliest week in the history of the world. Well, that came and went and didn't happen, did it? But we're told because there was a shutdown, it wasn't deadly. See, that's like me saying, if you watch this video, you will not get the hiccups. And so you sit through my video, and when it's all over, you realize, hey, I watched Pastor Marty's whole video. I didn't get the hiccups. Wow, watching his video is a cure for the hiccups. You have any idea how asininely stupid that is? And yet, we've got Fauci and these so-called experts running around that they can claim, hey, 2 million people are going to die if we don't follow these steps. So we get forced into following those steps. 2 million people don't die, and then they take a victory lap saying, see, the reason 2 million people didn't die, you did what I told you. Can I tell you the real reason 2 million people didn't die? 2 million people were never going to die from this because the numbers were wrong from jump. That said, I've already covered all that ad nauseum. These governors are now acting like rogue dictators, and I really wanted the president to stand up to them and to really lay into this. But he has decided that we will reopen America in 3 phases, and it's completely discretionary for the governors. Phase 1 is basically not really much change at all, other than if your numbers are declining and you're wearing face masks, you can go to phase 2. Phase 2 is where we start reopening schools and bars. By the way, restaurants and other things can reopen under phase 1, but very limited gatherings. What? We're going to let 5 people into McDonald's now? And then, of course, phase 3 is basically, okay, no more social distancing, kind of back to normal. But it's up to each governor to determine how long. And in there is testing that has to be done. And certain kinds of testing and mandated testing. And we have to know this, and we have to build a database, etc., etc., etc. So these governors who are running roughshod over rights, freedom, the Constitution, it's business as normal for them. Now, I get that places like New York, which have been harder hit than places like the Dakotas, which I'm really thinking about moving there now, because they didn't shut anything down, and they're being blasted by the media. And they don't have any problems. You can actually go to the Dakotas and sit inside McDonald's. Imagine that. Remember in the olden days, boys and girls, when we used to get to do that too? So, Tucker Carlson has the governor from New Jersey on his program. And Tucker did a great job trying to pin him down. What gives you the authority to trump the Constitution, in particular with the right to worship?
So you made that decision, and as I noted before, 15 congregants at a synagogue in New Jersey were arrested and charged for being in a synagogue together. Now, the Bill of Rights, as you well know, protects Americans' right, enshrines their right to practice their religion as they see fit and to congregate together, to assemble peacefully. By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. We went to first of all, we looked at the data and the science, and it says people have to stay away from each other. That's the best thing we could do to break the back of the curve of this virus that leads to lower hospitalizations and ultimately fatalities.
And I'm not contesting that, though. I think I do think there's a debate. This is a rolling conversation because we're learning new things every day, and nothing is settled at this point.
Understood.
But I do want, since you are an elected official, a leader in the government, an executive, how do you have the authority to order something that so clearly contravenes the Bill of Rights of the United States, the U.S. Constitution? Where do you get the authority to do that?
Well, here's the thing. We know we need to stay away from each other, number one. Number two, we do have broad authority within the state. And number three, we would never do that without coordinating, discussing, and hashing it out with the leaders, the variety of the leaders of the faiths in New Jersey. We are among, if not the most diverse state in America,
I'm sure that you talk to every rabbi and priest, but there's a deeper question here, and I'm just going to ask you one last time because I think it's important. I'm sure you've thought about this. You can't just, as the governor of a state, tell people who they can talk to when and where, because the Constitution of the United States, upon which all of this is based, prohibits you from doing that. So you clearly decided that you could do it. Did you consult an attorney about this? Did you? I mean, because this is a legal question as well as a medical one, isn't it?
I don't go to the men's room without consulting an attorney, so I guarantee you we did that. But I'll give you an example that was not related to the synagogue.
That governor looks like he's from New Jersey, doesn't it? I mean, he looks like a member of Tony Soprano's crew. And did you hear how Tucker kept trying to press him on this basic question? Hey, the Constitution, the federal Constitution, federally guarantees that churches have the right to meet. Where do you get the authority as a state governor to override the federal Constitution? Well, Tucker, I talked to my priest, and it's all good. It's all good. And this being Jersey, what's the backroom deal that got cut? Seriously, what's the backroom deal that got cut? Hey, Father, I'm telling you, if you get the churches online agreeing to just shut down, don't give me any grief, don't threaten me with court challenges on this one. Hey, when eventually people can come back to mass and we end this quarantine from the church, I promise all of my police chiefs across the state, they'll get the word that when they hear the screams of altar boys to just go find something else to do. Pastor Marty, I was even over the top for you. Sorry, truth hurt. Because I'm telling you, his go-to line was he kept wanting to talk about, I talked to the religious leaders of my state. Did you talk to the Supreme Court? Did you talk to the Supreme Court that you can just arbitrarily, of your own decision, end constitutional rights and freedoms? I don't care that Father O'Fondle down there at Our Lady of the Five Fingers, who, can tell me that if I eat anything but fish on Friday, I'm going straight to hell. But when it comes to putting his hands down the pants of a 5-year-old boy, we start getting a little fuzzy on the rule book. I don't care that he said, sure, Mr. Governor, go ahead. You can close down our churches. We don't care. What? And you pastors, yeah, I'm coming for you again too. You pastors that have just rolled over for we want your people to feel safe. These are the individuals that are making the choices for you. And you don't understand that this is a power grab? Again, I will say this for the umpteenth time. Yes, coronavirus is real. Yes, there are people dying from it, and that is sad. Let me give you some stats to put this in a little perspective. The state of Ohio has 11.6 million people in it. As of this recording, 248 people have died. Divide 248 deaths by 11.6 million, and what's the percentage? In the state of Ohio, this is from the CDC, these are their stats from 2014 to 2018. Heart disease is the number one killer. Heart disease. Over 50,000 people, on average, every year in the state of Ohio, die from heart disease. About 28,000 die every year in the state of Ohio from cancer. 3,000 plus die every year from diabetes. And anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 on any given year die in the state of Ohio from the flu. And 248 have died from corona. And they're predicting it might hit 500 for the year. And we understand that on a national scale now, they're talking about maybe 40 to 45,000, 50,000 could die from corona. And we've closed down our states, our rights, our liberties, our economy, our own mental and emotional well-being. And you don't think that there's not a political agenda at work here, that there aren't governors trying to seize control, steal rights, and basically declare themselves little emperors over the president himself? That these little medical nerds who were nothing more than the little geeks in school who ran the classroom projector, that now all of a sudden are the be-all, end-all, and we hang on their every word? They've never had this kind of power. I've told you before, Dr. Fauci is like that bad guy villain character in a Sylvester Stallone sci-fi movie.
I hadn't counted on this, but I must say you worked out beautifully. People are terrified of you. I'll have carte blanche to create the perfect society. My society.
And you pastors have rolled over and played dead for this after years of standing in pulpits, especially some of you right-wing, independent, fundamental Baptist preachers have been standing in pulpits saying, "Bless God, the government's not going to tell me what I can preach. I'm preaching against this, I'm preaching against that. Glory to God, I got the Bible, I got Jesus." And now all of a sudden, we can't have church because I got my people. You got to feel safe. You got to feel safe. It ain't about feeling safe. You don't want to lose your 501c3. Truth hurt? You're worried your church insurance company might cancel you because you had services. Truth hurt? Bottom line, and every pastor that I've argued this with, and sadly I've lost some pastor friends, I've asked, if Jesus were here right now, would he isolate or would he be among the people? Hint, in the New Testament, when all of the good religious folk didn't want anything to do with the lepers, unclean, unclean, stay away, stay away, stay away. It was Jesus who went and touched them, ministered to them. By the way, he wasn't alone. His disciples got to go with him. You know what the church is today? Pop quiz. We're the modern disciples. Where he goes, we're to follow. We're not just here just to gather and worship. We're here to receive instruction from the Word, how we can take our faith and live it and touch other people's lives with it and minister to them in their times of hurting. Shazam Batman, look around. People are hurting. People are under emotional duress. People are running to liquor stores to fill a void because the house of God is closed. And now governors are stepping in and they are usurping authority. And it's now part of the great reopening of America. Welcome to the new normal, where you're going to have to get a rectal temperature read and have it put in the cloud so that we know if you are sick or not, because you cannot return to work. And Governor Cuomo, after calling the president, he's not a king, We, the governors, we have the right to decide when our states will reopen, and we're not going to listen to Trump. So Trump does exactly what my father said never do. He acquiesced. You know, I learned a long time ago that your enemy is never satisfied with appeasement. They view it as weakness. It's true. My grandfather used to say if you give a mouse a cookie, he'll demand a glass of milk afterwards to wash it down with. So Trump tells the governors, you have the right to decide when you're going to reopen. So now these governors who have basically said, we don't give a flying flip about the Constitution, about the Bill of Rights, we'll do what we want when we want, and you people can twist in the wind. That's the great reopening of America. Really? Really? Now Cuomo is saying, whoa, 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 to the president. You don't get to put this back on us. We want more money. Shazam, Batman, there it is. See, if you don't get that this is all being manipulated, numbers are being hyped so that they can create mass hysteria, mass fear, so they can take your rights, take your freedom, and now take your money. What is Cuomo saying? You want us to do all this stuff? You're paying for it. He already gets $30K for every dead body. You think that might have something to do with why the death rate is spiking in New York? By the way, they get a certain amount of money from the feds for people that have the coronavirus. They get another set of money for people who have the coronavirus and who are on a ventilator. And then they get another set of money for people who die from complications possibly relating to coronavirus. What brain trust thought it was a great idea to incentivize and pay out in scale varying degrees of sickness and death? Oh, no one thought that, gee, maybe, just maybe, we would cook the books a little bit to get more money? See, I was a school administrator in New York. And I can tell you that schools that receive state funding, they receive it on a two-tier level. You get your automatic funding per student. But then you start getting more money based on the special needs of that student. So in other words, the more need the kid has, the more money the state gives the local school. So all of a sudden now it behooves school superintendents to have special needs students. They get more money. More money. See, I ran in a private school. We didn't take state funding. And I can't tell you how many of my students coming in, they came with their IEP and they had been labeled special needs. That within 2 or 3 weeks of just good old-fashioned fundamental training in things like phonics and math memorization, we had those kids operating 1 to 2 grade levels above their public school counterparts. And we did it on average of about $2,000 to $3,000 per student. Typical public school in the state of New York gets $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 per student, and most of their students, when they graduate, can't read their own diploma. And now we thought to take that same tiered idea and apply it to giving you funds to help fight coronavirus. And now you have Governor Cuomo saying, hey, 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 if I'm going to make the decision of when to reopen my state, I need more money. But remember, this is a governor who also says he's God.
The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. A lot of pain and suffering did that.
Yep, there you have it. He's God. It's not herd immunity, the natural immune system that God has built into every human being, divine design by the divine creator, that as the virus spreads through a population, we become inoculated to it. That's not why the numbers are going down. God had nothing to do with it. It was our brilliance. You are so being set up. And so many of you pastors, you are capitulating to this. And someday, when you go to heaven, how are you going to face people, disciples like Stephen and Peter and John the Baptist, who were beheaded and martyred for their faith? And you guys, as soon as the government said, we got a really bad case of the flu, close. Okay. I don't want to lose my 501c3. Okay. You're a real not hero of the faith. And governors are making a total power grab right now. And the president has said, this is the great reopening of America. I'm going to get fan mail.